Welcome back to Blue Collar Coder. I am Jack Harrington, and this is another in our Tech-A-Day series driven by you and your requests. And today, we are going to take a look at, as per your request, Gatsby, and how to use Gatsby to go and statically generate sites. So one thing you can do is you can just build pages with it, kind of ad hoc. Another thing you can do is you can build them with data. So that's two of the things that we're going to do today with Gatsby. Let's jump into the code. Okay, so let's build ourselves a Gatsby site. Okay, so this is the home page. And I gotta say, this graphic here actually does a pretty good job of explaining the sort of core value proposition of Gatsby. Like you take data, put it through a build process, and then it creates static files, and then you deploy it. So first thing we're gonna do is create a new Gatsby site called Pokemon. And as that's rolling, what we're going to do here is we're going to take 3 different ways to make a page in Gatsby. But the first thing we're going to do is just take a look and see what we get out of the box. You get 5 pages on port 8000. There you go. And you also get this GraphIQL interface that allows you to look at all the data that's available. And that's the way that Gatsby manages its data, is through GraphQL. So understanding how all this fits and getting your data into that GraphQL through data sources is what you want to do to drive the creation of your pages. Okay, so let's change the configuration. We'll change the metadata for the site. And we're going to go add in a transformer to get JSON into the system. So we're also going to add Material UI core and icons while we're here. So let's go get that data and then put it into source data. And this is basically just a list of all the Pokemon with their ID, their name, in particular their types, and then some information about their attack strength and all that stuff. Okay. So now we still have the 5 pages. Now the first thing I want to do is just show you how to make a basic page in general. So we're just going to go and add in an about page. This is hi there. And then immediately now you can just go about and bang, you've got a thing. And then we're going to bring in the layout and the SEO tag, add those in. And now it looks like it's part of the system. Yay, nice, right? So that's one way to create a page. But what we really want to do is we want to have our index page have a list of all the Pokemon sorted by their types. So you got, poison type and what have you. We're going to go and take that data, transform it into, and bucketize it into types, and then have it output as links within expanding panels that have those types. So, okay. First thing to do is to bring in a query. So let's take a look. That's our page query. That's going to be run by Gatsby during build time to go and get the data that's required for this page. Let's go put it into GraphQL and see what we get. Yes, now we get a list of all the Pokemon with their names in English and then their type. So the first thing we're going to do is just see what the data is that we get. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, cool. Now the next thing we need to do is bucketize them into types. So that's what this does. We look through all the nodes in all Pokemon JSON, and then we take those types and we create an array for each type and push the name in English into it. And now, for example, we can see what the poison types are. Pretty cool. Now we're going to bring in a bunch of Material UI components that we're going to use to go and build out those expanding panels. And here you go. So for every key, like poison, what have you, we're going to build an expansion panel that is open and closable, and then has the type, and then all of the different Pokemon listed as links. Then we're going to bring in some state that allows us to manage which one is currently active. And finally, a little bit of styling to make it all look pretty. And of course, all this code is on GitHub. You can play with it as you please, dgit, fork it, whatever you like. Okay, cool. There it is. So here we've gone from nothing to this in just a few minutes. And that's really cool. Okay, so the third way I'm going to show you how to create pages is to use this Gatsby Node. And this allows you to basically create pages dynamically based on data. So I'm just going to bring in some code that'll do this. First thing we're going to do is expose this create pages function, which gets as one of its things actions. As part of that, you get create page. So what we're going to do is create page for every one of the Pokemon. So we're going to make this query, And that query gets you basically everything you need to know about a Pokemon, because one thing we're going to do is we're going to send the data onto the page for formatting. So we do the query. We bail out if we get errors, obviously. Next thing it's going to do is get the template, and then it's going to go and create a page for every one of those Pokemon. Now that path is the name in English lowercase. So that's going to be the path like / Bulbasaur, right? That's what we're going to create for Bulbasaur. And it's going to be given that template, and then the ... node passes on all the data for the Bulbasaur to the template. And that particular path also maps up to what we did in index, which is the link thing there to go to / and then say Bulbasaur. Okay. So next thing we need to do is create that template. So let's go to create a templates directory and then Pokemon.js. And I'm just going to copy in some code here. So you got your material UI stuff at the top. Then we're going to create a title cell and a value cell, because we're going to take each one of those like base values like hit points, attack, defense, and make a nice little table out of it. Then we're going to put at the top the name in English. We have that table. And finally, the table with the type values. Okay, now as you can see, it's currently still only making 6 pages, so it hasn't reread config node yet. So let's stop this and then restart it. And now it's created 815 pages that quickly. So that's really cool. All right. Now let's go back in here and we can click on one of them. And now I go to Paris. Awesome. So let's go make a change to the template and see how fast it reruns. We're going to go bring in that layout and SEO so that they look more integrated into the main system. So add on layout and then also SEO with the title. Boom. It was that fast. It created 810 pages just like that. So that's really cool. All right. One more thing I wanted to show you about Gatsby. There's a whole plugin ecosystem around this. So there's all kinds of plugins out there. And when you look for sources in particular, you start to see all kinds of cool stuff, Instagram and BigCommerce, Sugar CRM that you can use to integrate the data that's in those sources and create pages from them that you then deploy statically. So super cool, really cool ecosystem. And I really encourage you folks to look into this and get familiar with Gatsby, because it's a very popular system nowadays. Okay, so if you like this video, hit that like button. If you really like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notifications every time that I put up a new video. And of course, just be good to each other.